Welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're tackling artificial intelligence head-on.
Sounds exciting.
It is, especially since you all specifically asked us to break down AI's impact, which, let me tell you, is everywhere.
Really gets you thinking, doesn't it? Just how far AI reaches.
Absolutely. And we're using some pretty fascinating sources for this one. A big one is a report from the Bipartisan House Task Force on Artificial Intelligence, along with some supporting documents.
Oh, interesting. I haven't gotten a chance to read through that one yet.
Well, get this deep dive covers everything from small businesses all the way up to national security, AI's energy consumption, and even how algorithms can end up with some quirks along the way.
AI is definitely complex.
It is, so let's dive right in. The report jumps right in talking about how the U.S. is a total powerhouse when it comes to AI.
Okay, so we're talking top-tier research.
Oh, yeah. Top-tier research, tons of innovative companies, big investments, you name it.
Got it. So like the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. And they break down how we got here, touching on everything from our vibrant research scene to strong protections for intellectual property.
I mean, that leadership role has to be a fascinating thing to explore.
Oh, it is. It puts the U.S. in a unique spot, like maybe even an obligation to guide how AI develops globally.
I could see that.
Yeah, and the report makes it clear that AI has huge potential. But it's like two sides of the same coin. There are some serious risks that come along with it.
You always have to take the good with the bad.
Right, so it's not all sunshine and roses, definitely. Another thing the report digs into is how the government is using AI right now.
Oh, like in those public service announcements, you mean?
Well, kind of, but think bigger, like the National AI Initiative Act, for example.
Okay, yeah, I remember hearing something about that.
Yeah, and then you have this AI Center of Excellence inside the General Services Administration.
That's a bit of a mouthful. What do they do again?
They're all about dragging those old-school federal IT systems into the modern age.
Makes sense. I mean, the government has a lot of catching up to do, I'd imagine.
Totally. And what really stood out to me is that the government isn't just, watching from the sidelines while AI takes off. They're rolling up their sleeves and figuring out how to use AI to actually improve their services, make things run smoother, and basically keep pace with all the change happening all around us.
It's like they're embracing it, right?
Yeah.
Not just letting it pass them by.
Yeah, exactly. But here's where things get a little bit trickier, and this is a big one. Data privacy.
Okay, yeah, that's been a hot topic lately.
For good reason. Think about it. AI needs massive amounts of data to do its thing, but that opens up this whole Pandora's box of questions about who's getting access to what and how all that information is actually being protected.
Yeah, like all those data breaches you hear about, it definitely makes you think twice.
Definitely. And the report really dives into this, talking about how existing laws, like the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act and the Fair Credit Reporting Act, they're kind of scrambling to keep up.
Oh, how so?
Well, they just weren't designed with AI's complexity in mind. So there's this whole push to update the legal safeguards around data privacy in the age of AI.
Right, it's almost like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Those laws just weren't built for this.
Exactly. And on the topic of playing catch-up, the report goes into AI's role in national security, which is, well, a whole other can of worms.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the angle there?
It's wild. AI is like this ultimate tool for strategizing in the world of national security. It can make us stronger, but it also creates some serious vulnerabilities, especially with countries like China pouring resources into their own AI capabilities.
So it's kind of like a technological chess match.
Totally. And it creates a sense of urgency, like we're in a race. The report stresses how crucial it is to keep investing in AI research and development so we don't fall behind.
Right, so we can't afford to slack off on that front.
Not at all. And it's not just about the money. Keeping research open and collaborative is huge for figuring out the risks involved and making sure everyone's playing by the rules.
So it's about transparency and setting a good example.
Exactly. If we want other countries to develop AI responsibly, we have to walk the walk, be transparent about our own research, and show everyone the benefits of tackling this together.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Lead by example, right.
Right. And the report emphasizes investing in building a workforce that's ready for AI.
Okay, so what does that look like? More coding boot camps.
Well, it's bigger than that. It's about recognizing that it's not just about coding anymore. It's about skills-based hiring, looking beyond just those traditional degrees, and supporting programs like CyberCore that are training people for this whole new landscape.
So the definition of qualified is changing. Interesting.
Exactly. It's more about what you can actually do, not just what piece of paper you have.
Makes sense in the tech world for sure.
Definitely. And it's like AI is becoming this new language. The more people who understand at least the basics, the better we'll be able to navigate the changes AI brings and make sure the benefits are actually reaching everyone.
It's about inclusivity, right?
Mm.
Making sure everyone's on board.
Exactly. And it brings us back to this idea of keeping humans at the center of it all. AI shouldn't just be something that happens to us. We should be shaping it, understanding it, and using it as a tool to solve problems and make our lives better.
I like that. It puts humans back in the driver's seat.
Right. Okay, get ready for a brain twister. The report goes into the whole world of intellectual property and AI.
Oh boy. That sounds complicated.
It is. Think about AI systems potentially messing with copyrights and trademarks. It's a tangled web.
I bet. It's like the law is always trying to catch up to technology.
Exactly. And the report actually calls out the USPTO, saying they're having a tough time giving clear guidance on all this. It's like technology is outpacing the law, and we're still figuring out how our intellectual property frameworks actually apply to AI.
Yeah, AI is unique in a lot of ways. It's not easy to just plug into old categories.
Exactly. And then there's this mind-blowing world of synthetic content, which gets a lot of attention in the report.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff that really makes you question reality these days.
No kidding. AI is getting so good at creating realistic text, images, and audio, it's hard to tell what's real and what's not.
Remember that song, Heart on My Sleeve?
Oh, the AI-generated one that everyone thought was a Drake and the Weeknd collab.
Yeah, exactly. Millions of people were totally fooled.
It's a perfect example of how synthetic content blurs the lines. It's not just a fun novelty anymore. It has real implications for trust, credibility, and how we consume information.
It makes you think twice about everything you see and hear online.
It really does. And here's something you might not expect: AI's energy consumption.
Oh, right. All those servers must suck up a ton of power.
It's not just the servers. Training those complex AI models takes a massive amount of energy, which could strain our energy grids and even contribute to climate change.
So it's like a paradox. AI could help us solve climate change, but it's also contributing to the problem.
It really highlights how we have to think about AI holistically. We can't just focus on the cool technology. We have to consider the ethical, social, and environmental impacts too.
Right. AI needs to be a force for good in the world, not just a technological marvel.
Exactly. Now let's talk about how AI could revolutionize healthcare. Imagine if we could speed up drug development, get diagnoses faster, and even have treatments tailored to each individual.
It'd be like having a personal medical team working for you 24/7.
Exactly. And the report dives into this, explaining how AI can analyze tons of medical data, finding patterns and insights human doctors might miss. Think about catching diseases earlier, creating better treatments, and helping people live longer, healthier lives.
That's the dream, isn't it?
It is. But the report also points out concerns about data privacy in healthcare and stresses the need for regulations to make sure everything's above board, especially when you're dealing with sensitive medical information.
Oh, for sure. You can't mess around with people's health data.
Absolutely. Last stop on our whirlwind AI tour of the financial services world.
That's one area where AI seems to have really taken hold already.
It has. AI is changing how we bank, invest, and manage our money, being used for everything from catching fraudsters to offering personalized financial advice.
It's pretty wild how much AI is already integrated into our everyday financial lives.
It is, and the report stresses the need for regulations that can keep up with these changes, finding that balance between fostering innovation and protecting consumers and making sure the whole financial system stays stable.
So it's about striking that right balance, encouraging progress while keeping things safe and fair.
Exactly. Well, we've covered a lot of ground, but we've only just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to unpack, isn't there?
Absolutely. And next time, we're diving deeper into some surprising insights about AI's energy consumption and the potential for bias, even in algorithms that seem totally objective.
Can't wait. Okay, so picking up where we left off, let's dig a little deeper into how AI is changing the world of agriculture. The report really highlights how AI is being used to create a more sustainable and efficient food system.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. So we're talking more than just robots picking strawberries, right?
Oh yeah, much more. Think about using sensors and AI to actually monitor soil conditions.
Okay, so like what's going on underground?
Exactly. But also things like weather patterns and even the health of individual plants.
Wow. So it's like super detailed monitoring.
It is. And all that data helps farmers use resources like water and fertilizer more precisely.
So less waste.
Exactly. Less waste, less environmental impact. It's a win-win.
Makes sense. But does this stuff actually work? I mean, is it really making that much of a difference?
It is. We're talking about increased crop yields, using fewer pesticides, and making farms more resilient, especially with climate change being such a big concern.
Oh, right. Like, can AI actually help us adapt to a changing climate?
It can. And AI can even help reduce food waste, believe it or not, by optimizing the whole supply chain and predicting demand more accurately.
Wow, so it's like AI is giving farmers the superpower to make better decisions.
It is. Data-driven decisions that help their business and the planet. And the report actually highlights some companies that are leading the charge in this area.
Oh, like who?
Well, there's this company called Blue River Technology. They developed this AI robot that can target weeds with incredible accuracy.
Like a robotic weed assassin.
Kind of. And that means farmers need to use less herbicide, which is better for everyone.
That's pretty cool. Any other examples?
Yeah. Another one is Prosper Technologies. They use AI to analyze images of crops and spot early signs of disease or stress.
So it's like a doctor for plants.
Exactly. Farmers can intervene early and prevent problems before they spread.
That's amazing. So it's all about prevention rather than reaction.
Exactly. And these are just a couple of examples. The report emphasizes that we're just scratching the surface of what AI can do in agriculture.
It's exciting to think about what the future holds.
It really is. Now let's talk about healthcare, another area where AI is making huge strides.
Yeah, we touched on this earlier, but I'm ready to go deeper. What's the report saying about the most promising uses of AI in healthcare?
Well, one big one is medical imaging. AI algorithms can analyze things like X-rays and CT scans way faster and more accurately than humans can.
Really? So they can spot things that doctors might miss?
They can. And that means catching diseases like cancer much earlier when treatment is more effective.
That's a game changer, especially for cancer.
Absolutely. And there are companies like Zebra Medical Vision developing these AI tools that not only find abnormalities, but also give insights to radiologists.
So it's like an AI assistant for doctors.
Exactly. Helping them make even better decisions about patient care.
I like that. What about drug development? Is AI speeding things up there too?
It is. Drug development is a long and expensive process, but AI is helping to accelerate it.
How so?
Well, AI can analyze massive data sets of molecular information, looking for potential drug candidates, and even predicting their effectiveness.
That's amazing, especially for diseases where there aren't many good treatments right now.
There are. Companies like Atomwise are using AI to screen millions of potential drug compounds way faster than traditional methods.
So we could see new treatments for diseases like Alzheimer's or HIV much sooner.
Potentially, yes. And beyond diagnosis and drug discovery, AI is also being used to personalize treatment plans for individual patients.
Okay, now we're talking, like truly individualized healthcare.
Exactly. AI can analyze your genetic information, medical history, lifestyle, everything.
So like a custom healthcare plan.
Pretty much. Companies like Tempus are building these platforms that help doctors choose the best treatments for each specific patient.
Wow, so AI is not just about finding cures, it's about tailoring those cures to each person.
It is. The report really paints this exciting picture of the future of healthcare. But it's important to remember that there are challenges too.
Oh, right. Like what?
Well, data privacy is a big one. Healthcare data is incredibly sensitive, so AI systems have to protect that information.
You can't just let anyone access your medical records.
Exactly. And there's also the issue of bias in algorithms. We have to make sure these AI systems are fair and don't perpetuate existing biases in healthcare.
Like racial disparities, for example.
Exactly. We don't want AI making things worse. It has to benefit everyone equally.
That's a good point. So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how it's used and who it's benefiting.
Exactly. And the report also emphasizes the need for a workforce that's ready for AI in healthcare.
So, like, training doctors and nurses to use AI tools effectively.
Exactly. And making sure patients understand how AI is being used in their care. It's about integrating AI seamlessly and responsibly.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about financial services. This is one area where it feels like AI is already pretty integrated.
It is. I mean, most of us have probably interacted with AI in finance without even realizing it.
Well, like when you call your bank and talk to a robot.
Well, yeah. Or think about those fraud detection algorithms that protect your credit card.
Oh, right. I never even think about that stuff.
It's happening all the time. And the report goes into how AI is being used to make financial services more efficient, more secure, and just overall better for customers.
So what are some of the key applications they highlight?
Well, fraud detection is a big one, as we mentioned. AI can analyze huge amounts of transaction data super quickly and spot patterns that humans might miss.
So they can catch fraudsters before they do any damage.
Exactly. And they're getting really good at it. Companies like FeedSci are building these AI platforms that are used by banks all over the world.
It's like having a digital detective on the case 24/7.
Exactly. And another interesting application is in personalized financial advice.
Oh, like those robo-advisors you hear about.
Exactly. They use AI algorithms to analyze your financial situation and goals and then give you tailored investment recommendations.
So it's like having a financial advisor in your pocket, but much cheaper.
Exactly. Companies like Betterment and Wealthfront are really leading the charge in this space.
That's cool. It makes financial advice more accessible to everyone, not just the wealthy.
Exactly. And AI is also being used for things like loan underwriting, helping lenders make faster and more informed decisions.
So, like, it could make it easier for people to get loans.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
But again, there are concerns about bias that need to be addressed. We don't want AI systems discriminating against certain borrowers.
Right. It all comes back to fairness and making sure AI is being used ethically.
Exactly. The report really stresses the need for balanced regulations that encourage innovation while protecting consumers and keeping a whole financial system stable.
So, finding that sweet spot where everyone benefits, right?
Exactly. And that brings us to another fascinating area where AI is making a big splash, content creation.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that fake Drake song earlier. What else does the report have to say about this?
Well, it digs into the rapid advancements in generative AI, which is basically AI that can create original content.
So, like AI that can write songs, paint pictures, write poems.
All of that and more.
Hmm.
We're talking about AI that can write articles, compose music, design websites, even write computer code.
Wow. It's like having a digital artist at your beck and call.
It is. The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing. But as we discussed earlier, there are some potential downsides too. Deepfakes, misinformation, the potential for job displacement. These are all real concerns.
It's that double-edged sword again, right?
Exactly. The report talks about the need for ethical guidelines, safety protocols, and regulations to ensure generative AI is used for good, not for harm.
Makes sense. We have to be careful with this powerful technology.
We do. Now let's move on to another sector that's being transformed by AI education.
I'm curious to hear about this one. It seems like AI could really change how we learn.
It could. The report talks about how AI is being used to personalize learning experiences, provide tutoring, automate tasks, and even develop these intelligent tutoring systems.
So it's like having an AI tutor that adapts to your needs.
Exactly. Companies like Khan Academy and Duolingo are already doing amazing things in this space.
Wow. That kind of personalized learning could be a game changer for education, making it more effective and more engaging for everyone.
It could. But there are challenges too. We need to make sure AI tools complement human teachers, not replace them. And we have to be careful about AI exacerbating existing inequalities in education.
Right. Technology should help level the playing field, not create new barriers.
Exactly. And the report stresses the need for educators to learn how to use AI effectively and for students to develop critical thinking skills to evaluate information online.
So it's about preparing everyone for a world where AI is everywhere.
Exactly. Okay, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I think it's important to pause and consider the bigger picture.
Yeah, we've covered so much. What are some of the key takeaways we should keep in mind?
Well, first, AI isn't some futuristic concept. It's here now, and it's already having a huge impact.
Right, it's not science fiction anymore.
Exactly. Second, AI is a double-edged sword. It has the potential for good and for harm. It's up to us to steer it in the right direction.
We have to be responsible with this technology.
We do. And finally, AI is not just a technological issue, it's a societal one. It's forcing us to rethink our values and our vision for the future.
It's a conversation that all of us need to be a part of.
Exactly. And in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore some specific challenges and opportunities presented by AI and what it all means for you, the listener.
All right, so we've talked about AI's impact on everything from healthcare to agriculture, but this report really digs into some deeper issues. Like it goes beyond just saying, hey, AI is changing things. It really gets into the big questions we need to be asking ourselves as a society because of AI, you know?
Yeah, it does feel different from other reports I've skimmed. It's like AI isn't just some technology over there. It's woven into our values, our goals as a society, even our anxieties about the future. It's kind of like this report's a wake-up call saying, hey, let's have a real national conversation about AI. a conversation that includes everyone and focuses on the long term.
I totally agree. It feels like AI is at this crossroads, right? We have this amazing opportunity to use it to fix problems and build a better future, but there's also this whole other side. Like, we have to be so careful about the risks and make sure we're not steering it in the wrong direction.
And that's the tricky part, isn't it?
Hmm.
Because AI is a moving target. It's changing so fast, it's like trying to hit a bullseye on a target that's spinning like crazy. We have to be ready to adapt constantly if we want to keep up.
Yeah, it's like surfing a huge wave. You can't just stand still. You have to adjust to stay on top.
Exactly. And the report really drives home this need for constant evaluation, for adaptation. We can't just make some policies and call it a day. We have to be proactive, anticipate the challenges, think about the ethics, and basically create a system that can keep pace with AI as it keeps evolving.
So, speaking of keeping pace, the report talks a lot about workforce development and education, right? And it's not just about training people for AI jobs, it's about making sure everyone has the skills to thrive in a world where AI is everywhere.
Totally. It's about giving people those core skills: critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, being adaptable. These are the things that make us human, and they're going to be even more important as AI becomes more sophisticated.
It's like having a mental toolbox, and you're always adding new tools to it so you can handle whatever comes your way.
I like that. And the report emphasizes that this is a lifelong thing. The skills we need today might not be the ones we need tomorrow. So we need to build a culture of always learning, of constantly upgrading our skills so that everyone benefits from AI, not just the tech experts.
And it goes beyond just individual skills, right? The report also talks about AI literacy for everyone.
It's true. It's like learning a new language, the language of AI. If we want to navigate this world that's becoming so dependent on technology, we need to at least understand the basics, the concepts, the capabilities, even the limitations of AI.
So what does all this mean for our listeners who are already interested in learning more about AI?
Well, I think the big message is to stay informed and stay engaged. AI is going to impact all of us, whether we work directly with it or not. Stay curious, keep asking questions, and be a part of the conversation about how we shape AI's future.
It's about our shared future, right? The choices we make today about AI are going to have ripple effects for generations.
Exactly. And on that note, maybe a final thought to leave our listeners with.
Yeah.
As AI gets more advanced and becomes more integrated into our lives, how do we make sure it remains a tool that empowers humanity, that helps us rather than diminishes us?
That's a great question to ponder. And thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI. We hope you found it informative, thought-provoking, and maybe even a little inspiring. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.